scoot up a little bit?
Scoot up a little bit, we're already here. Hey, welcome to Two Guys Garage. This isn't a hot rod, but it's something you might drive while you're working on yours.
And we're gonna show you how to save a little bit of that funny money today by showing you the ins and outs of a CV joint install.
And a lot of other parts and pieces. We've got a charity car, we're putting a lot of time in. We're going through top to bottom. It's gonna be a fast-paced show, stick around.
Gotta love the sound of those plastic doors, don't you?
Well, you know, as much as we bang into stuff around here, it's probably not a bad idea.
One less thing we have to fix.
Yeah, that's right. Now, speaking of fixing, CarQuest has a program called Wheels for Hope. Now, it's all about getting donated technician time and donated vehicles, and they come together with a lot of donated parts, and you can go through and sort a tired old vehicle, actually put it in good running condition for a good needy family.
Yeah, the person that donates the vehicle gets a tax break. They're happy.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that works on the car like us today feels good that he's helping someone out. And then a person in need pays $500 for an inexpensive car that probably would cost them $3,000 to $5,000 to go out and buy it.
Yeah, now think about buying a $500 car. Typically, you're going to be in that trap where it's always got issues and problems that you can never get out of. So by putting some time in and some expertise, we can go through the vehicle top to bottom, not just maintenance stuff like brakes and fluids, but we can go through and address issues like on this one. We got some overheating, we got some noises, we can check drivability, we can really get it in, you know, pretty tip-top shape for the vehicle so that when we do hand it off to the new owners, they've got a solid platform to kind of move on with their lives.
Right, so that being said, you ready to dig in and see what all we've got on this thing?
Yep, I see one problem right off the bat.
Let's get this one.
Yeah, well, keep pulling. We might have to pull some lug nuts first.
I'm gonna go ahead and touch the power steering pump. Touch the valve cover. Yeah, sounds fine. Air compressor, doesn't sound bad. I'm gonna go down here to the water pump. Ooh, yeah, water pump, go ahead and cut it. That water pump sounds really bad. Now I know it's corny, but using a stethoscope, can't get it out today, is a great way to go in and diagnose especially rattles and bearings and weird knocks that are inside your engine compartment.
Yeah, and anytime you're looking over, let's say you want to buy a used car or you just want to go over your car, a great way to kind of see how things are doing is just go through the fluids, right? So we're going to test the brake fluid and we'll let that sit for a minute. And it'll change some colors so we can see the quality of the fluid there. See if we want to top off, flush, or if we've got debris, then we know we've got something bigger going on with that system.
Yeah, and even though our water pump looks like it's going bad, it may or may not actually be causing our overheating. Probably not. So we're going to check the cap. We'll do a little pressure test on that. And while I'm over here, I'm going to go ahead and check power steering fluid too, see if it looks bad.
I'll pull out some plugs because now we can get inside the combustion chamber, see how things have been firing, and if we have any potential issues, you know, inside the engine where it can get expensive. So let's see what we got here. All right, so this doesn't look bad. This got a little carbon buildup. It's got 109,000 miles. Not a big deal. The electrodes are kind of worn, so it's time to replace. What we don't see is any kind of aluminum deposits on the spark plug.
Good thing.
Which is good, so you get knock and detonation, and actually the sonic waves crashing are so violent they can literally pit pieces of aluminum piston. So you can look for things like that. So we'll go through all the spark plugs and read them, see if we got any issues, but the engine seems like it's running pretty good. So let's check that fluid color since we put the tester on it and see how we're doing. And we are about right between adding and needing to flush it, so we'll go ahead and flush it. While we're up here, we'll check some belts, some hoses, get her up in the air and see what we got underneath. The all-important visual inspection. And we're gonna go back to front or front to back, but you're gonna go through the car and you're gonna look for things. You're gonna poke on them, you're gonna shake them.
Shake that bear.
Shake that bear. So, you know, when you get up here to tie rods, you know, shake the tie rod, shake the ball joints, pry on them. You know, make sure you don't have too much wear. Look for drips, leaks, broken seals.
That's right.
You know, and speaking of, I got a half shaft boot.
There you go.
Yeah, so it looks like early signs of a cracked boot. So grease is just starting to work its way out, but the dirt and the grime hasn't got in. We did some tight turns in the parking lot with no clicking sounds, which is usually when the bearings go bad. So, you know, we can save a $200-300 job, same amount of work, but a boot's about 15 bucks, so.
That's awesome.
A lot easier.
Now up under here, there's a petcock that's coming to the radiator. I'm gonna go ahead and try to open it and drain it, see if I can hit the hit the bucket, which would be a miracle. There we go. All right. Always like it when it goes the way you plan. I'm gonna step around and show you the water pump while we're here. Now, here's the water pump. You can see it's a lot more accessible from the bottom. And checking out the belt's really bad. It's cracked a lot. Now that has to come out anyway, so not a big deal. We'll go ahead and replace that. So, all right, right now, take a break and get back. We're gonna show you how to reinstall a new water pump. Welcome back to our Saturn water pump install. Now I'm just kind of killing off the rest of that belt. Okay, got that out. Man, it really does look bad. Check all the cracking on that.
Oh yeah, time for that guy to go. And I got the water pump just about prepped as Brian pulls it out. We got new parts from CarQuest. They're our sponsor on the project. And a little tip for you. This is, factory replacement water pump. It's got a stamped steel body, and you can see the sort of groove stamped in it for the seal. But that seal is a nice rubber seal. It doesn't need sealant, but it is floppy. And you can, misguide it in the groove. So I put a little bit of RTV around, let it get tacky, set the seal in there so it stays in place while you're reaching up in that dark hole. And I tell you what, these new one-handed RTV dispensers.
Those are great.
Definitely.
I love those things. Now, just to catch you up on the car, we're donating our time. CarQuest is donating the parts, and it's for the Wheels for Hope program. This is really great for people who've got it tough, having trouble buying a car, and they can get a nice, what would be $4,000 or $5,000 car for $500.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you take for granted basic transportation. Gets you to work, picks up your kids, takes you to the doctor. I mean, all those things that you don't think about.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of which, we took a car, because we had one, we took a car to Raleigh to see this nice program and see how it affects people's lives.
What Wheels for Hope does is we recycle cars and we change lives. The way we recycle cars is pretty simple. People donate their cars to us when they're ready to trade in a vehicle for whatever reason. Somebody who's going through a major transition in life is able then to buy a car that's generally worth about $2,000 to $3,000 for $500. It's the best deal they're going to get in a way for them to keep on with their lives.
Wheels for Hope has changed my life by allowing me to be able to be a better father, be a better employee, and open up opportunities for new jobs. My commute to work went from 2.5 hours to about 30 minutes. A lot of people do need second chance. A lot of people make mistakes. Certainly I have. Without Wheels for Hope, there's no way that I would have been in a position to achieve what I've been able to achieve.
I definitely will benefit from this car, being able to get to work on time, my step-up meetings, and being able to attend school. It was a main factor in my life that I needed. Yay!
In addition to the tax write-off, which everyone's looking for a way to keep some more money in their pocket, you're providing a car to an individual who's in really need of it. They've gone through a process to show that they are really in need of a vehicle, not just to have something to drive.
There are many, many, many levels that Wheels for Hope has impact on. Whether it's the community, whether it's corporate, whether it's small businesses in the area, all the way down to individuals. I mean, I really like to say that Wheels for Hope supports the community one vehicle at a time.
All right, Brian got the water pump in. Now it's time to check, see if we've got everything sealed right there and everywhere else. So I'm on my degas bottle. There's no more radiator cap. I've got a degas bottle. It's the highest point in the system. Any air pockets or any gaseous vapor that forms can work its way up through here. And I've got my cap on it. Well, I want to check my system pressure as well as any leaks. So I've got an adapter and I've got one for the cap. Now this system is set to run at 15 psi. And we can test that real quick. Now the reason you want to pressurize your system is going to help raise the boiling point. Antifreeze will help raise it and lower the freezing point, which is great. And running under pressure will do the same thing. Keep raising the boiling point of the water. We can run the engine hotter. So the hotter we can run the engine without hurting, some of the materials, the heat treats or the gaskets, the less heat energy from the fuel goes into the cooling system and out the back, and the more goes into that piston into your wheel, so you get better fuel economy. Well, it also gives you margin so you don't boil over, which is a bad thing. So if I can hear it leaking, and you can see I can't even build up pressure. This gauge goes to about 30 psi. We should be about halfway at 15. It's not even holding. So let's throw that cap out, put another one on. We'll finish burping this. We'll pressurize the system, make sure we don't have any leaks. take it for a test drive. I think it's time to get on that half shaft.
If you remember from earlier, we found that we had a CV boot that's got a leaky problem. Now, there's supposed to be grease inside of there, and if you let it go, then you're going to end up with the classic, you drive down the street and that is a bad CV joint. Luckily, we got to it before it happened. And now, if you're a repair guy out there and you own a shop, you don't want me to show people how to put this in, because this really is a great repair for your local guy, but it's not that hard, and we can show you how. So the first thing I did was went ahead and pulled the nut off the axle. There's splines right here, and what's going on is you're driving from, here's the wheel, it's coming from the transmission, coming all the way through, and this is your joint. It's going to allow you to steer the vehicle back and forth, and there's another spline shaft in the back in the transmission, which we'll see in a little bit. So we got that out. Now, the second thing we did was we pulled the castle nut, which went right here on the ball joint. We got that out and pried right back off the lower A-arm. Pull that out, and you can see now that's free. Now, we took a brass hammer, kind of tapped on this, try to get it loose without ruining this lower seal. If you do ruin the seal, it's okay. You can replace it, but obviously it's much easier if you don't. And if you really have trouble getting it apart, you can use a pickle fork, but again, that's going to ruin your seal more than likely. All right, so we're to that point. Let's get our brass hammer out again. We're going to try to get the axle off of these splines. I've already loosened it a little bit just to make it easy. Okay. Now, last thing we need to do is pull the axle out of the tranny. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a little drain pan. And there's a seal in the back, and you just want to put a little bit of a pry bar back there, but you don't want to hurt the seal. And I'm going to pull a little, there we go. Okay, and you can see the tranny fluid come out. That's a lot. Most cars, it's more like a dribble, but this is really running. Now, I'm lucky. There we go. Okay. Pull that out, and there you go. There's a little C-clip, holds it in. All right. Got the old one out, got our pieces laid in our tray here, and we got our new parts from CarQuest. You get your boot, your little band clamps, and your grease. Now, this thing came out really easily. All we had to do is pop the old bands off, slide the boot out of the way, and then at that point there's a little clip on the inside. You open it up, and at that point slides off the spline shaft. Good to go.
All right, now once you've got it apart, you can wash it out, repack it with grease, just like a wheel bearing. You're ready to reassemble in the reverse order. Now, a CV joint typically put on the front of a car because you've got high angles in that joint. Unlike a drive shaft, it's pretty straight with a little bit of angle, and that works really well. It's a really cost-effective, simple joint. But if you took a U-joint and you put a high angle, like when you're trying to steer and put power down, you can try it at home. Get your socket set out and feel it. And you'll feel it. It feels pretty wonky.
That would be one wobbly ride, or
oh yeah, definitely.
Or the world's most expensive socket set. You put a CV in it.
Yeah, so it's constant velocity of the shaft going in equals the velocity of the shaft going out. Nice and smooth. You don't even know it's there.
Let me show you inside the CV joint. You can see how the slots are milled for the balls. That really gives you a lot of deflection and lets it move really smooth.
Yeah, it's a really neat when you pull them apart. It's a convoluted shape. I don't know how they machine it in there, but once it's together, it's a pretty simple unit.
So we'll put this back together. We got a few more odds and ends to button up on the car. We're gonna check some more fluid, see if there's anything else we need to fix. So at that point, ready to give it to Wheels for Hope. We'll give it to a lucky recipient. You ever wish you had a pro detailer come into your living room and help you fix those minor paint problems that you have? Well, here he is, Mike Phillips, ready to help us out. We've got a new Mustang. A lot of guys, you go in, you get something painted, the guy buffs it out in the shop, and he uses a heavy wool pad. And these are great to cut with. That's what they're made for. Unfortunately, they don't finish it out very well, and we've got some streaks that are coming through the paint, especially evident on black.
So we're going to show you some tips and techniques to remove the swirls and finish out and leave a high gloss finish.
We got a couple of rotary buffers here, very common.
Yep, this is a polishing pad. It's real soft, it's going to be gentle to paint, but it's aggressive enough to pull the swirls out. Now to do this, we're going to use the Wolfgang Total Swirl Remover. This is kind of a medium to light polish. So we're getting away from the heavy compounds, getting something a lot finer.
Now you watch. He's the pro, and me, I've done a lot of buffing in my day, but I like to fling it everywhere. That's what I do. Oh, now you're flinging it.
I flung it. Swirls are gone. So the next step is we're going to switch to an even more gentle pad. This is a finishing pad. And it's important when you put these on to center these on your backing plate. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our speed down to the lowest setting. Now with this polisher, this will dial down to 600 RPM. And this is what I like to call jeweling. It's bringing that finish up to a really crystal clear, high gloss finish. And if we did everything correctly, the swirls will be gone and we'll be ready to put on a coat of wax.
I'm gonna put a little bit on there for you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Quarter over shoulder. This is real fast too.
I'm gonna try to keep up by hand.
Well, when you're putting the wax on, actually, since you're not trying to remove swirls, here, let me help you with your side.
Hey, get off my side. Get on your own side over there.
All you need to do is spread a coat out. One thing about it though is the machine takes all the work out of it. Well, as you can see, we got phenomenal results using the Wolfgang polishes. Hey, you know there's a lot of great information on autogeek.net when it comes to polishing out your car, so check it out.
Okay, we got our axle back in, got the nut back on here. Now it's time to do the brakes. We got a nice, good stopping power. We got wiper blades, batteries, we got all kinds of stuff. We're gonna be here all day on this project.
No, we're not actually. Richard from Wheels from Hope is going to be here soon.
Soon?
Yeah.
And that's all you got, wiper blades? Sucker out of here. Throw on a newbie. Cleaner, nicer, ready to roll. Man, just in time to hand it over. This is Dick Huck.
Hello.
He's a volunteer for the Wheels for Hope program. So we've done a lot of work all day to get this thing prepared so we can take it back to Raleigh, hand it over to a deserving family.
Well, I've heard a lot about this car and I am really looking forward to seeing it.
Well, thanks to CarQuest, we've done everything from cooling systems, axles. You know, we've gone through top to bottom brake systems, maintenance, repair. She's a solid ride, ready for you guys.
I really do appreciate this fellow, folks, and I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be Raleigh your bus.
Well, it's driving great, and obviously we're stoked that CarQuest could help us out, donate some parts, and it's a really great cause. You know, you can donate vehicles, you get a tax break, it makes you feel good, and it's a great thing to do.
Anywhere around the country, just check them out, Wheels for Hope. You can give them a beater, you can give them something nice. Everything will go to proceeds to putting something together for a nice family. But I tell you what, we put our time in mechanically, you're gonna have to wash it.
Okay,
It's all
thank you,
yours.
gentlemen.
We gotta
I
take a
appreciate
break.
it.
You got it.
For more information about anything you've seen on today's show, check out speed.com or visit TwoGuysGarage.com. Since 1971, all trucks have been manufactured with seatbelts, but many older vehicles on the road still drive without them. Avoid the ticket and add extra safety with a 3-point retractable seatbelt kit. It's a simple direct bolt-on installation while using the original seatbelt mounting holes. They are made from OE quality herringbone webbing, and you can color match the belt to your interior. A seatbelt extender is also available, providing an extra 12 inches in length. The seatbelt kit is available for 67 to 87 GM trucks, 73 to 91 Blazer and Suburban, and 67 to 72 Ford trucks. This tip is brought to you by LMC Truck. With over 30,000 truck parts in stock, you can get the right part at the right price right now.
Get back in here to the break room, get your coffee. We're going to teach you how to paint your own car with Paintucation videos.
That's right. This is a buddy of ours, Kevin Tate. You guys have seen him on maybe one of those other car shows. He's a great teacher, and he's got a career worth of experience that he's put down in his DVDs. You don't have to read a book.
Which is
Just sit back and start to absorb the knowledge.
Each one of these videos is an hour long. Just for example, let's go with the paint your own car one. That's going to start with metalwork. It's going to start with patch panels. It's going to work in through the primer process, blocking, spraying down your base, and then eventually laying down that beautiful clear.
Yeah, it's great because these are all technique specific, and they're going to build up to the point where you at home can paint your own car. I mean, that's a huge hurdle that a lot of us have that dream of doing.
So go to the Paint Education website. They got forums, they got how-tos, free help, and obviously you can pick up each one of the videos and learn to paint your own car.
You know, just when you've seen it all with battery chargers, you know, the hang up on the wall kind, the small kind, Deltran Battery Tender comes out with the solar panel.
Green and clean. That's all self-contained. It's waterproof, it's spark-proof, and it's got a self-contained unit right here that does all your automatic 3-step functions. So literally just take it outside, mount it on top of your RV. You could put it next to your jet skis, your boat, whatever you have. Plug it in, done.
That's right, because you don't always have a 5-mile extension cord, you know? And those, you know, those toys you got, you can't always use them every day. You can't keep them charged up like normal. So all that stuff that you love that maybe you don't get to use all the time, this guy's, you know, taking care of you while you're not even paying attention.
Yep, this is a 12-volt, 10-watt. You can also get a 5-watt or a 15 as well.
Yeah, and these are 5-year warranties, so definitely going to keep your stuff ready to go for a long time.
Waterproof, spark-proof, reverse polarity-proof. Pretty much just like all the battery tenders, it's a piece of cake. Stick it outside, hook it up, good to go.
All right, next up is from White Diamond. It's the metal cleaner and polisher.
Yeah, this stuff's working great. Now, this is a one-step process. Yeah, that's working really good. Just put a little bit on your rag. And when you've got stainless or aluminum, brass, chrome, no matter what you have, this stuff is not only going to polish it up to a nice, pretty luster, but it's also going to protect and seal.
Yeah, and you can see it'll start pulling the oxidation out. It'll get a nice little haze on there. You let that haze dry, just like you're going to wax your car. Then you'll come back and kind of buff that off. The shine will come through. It's got a protective layer in it, so it'll keep your product looking good for quite a long time.
Now, this used to be a secret of the truckers and the bikers, but the White Diamond is now available in most stores.
That's right, the secret's out. So with that, we're out. End of the show. We'll see you guys next week.
Adios!